Qualcomm delivered news to investors that you need to know about, especially regarding its deal with Chinese phone manufacturers and its approach on artificial intelligence. So, in this video, I'll discuss those latest developments for investors that are interested in Qualcomm stock, which is one of the stocks I have rated as a buy on my stock recommendation list. So, let's take a look. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now. So, Qualcomm said that they finalized renewal negotiations for long-term licenses with two key Chinese phone manufacturers, and they expect to execute those arrangements shortly. And that's great news for Qualcomm, especially because the Chinese phone manufacturers are gaining significant market share in China at the expense of Apple. And Apple is a company that is ending its relationship with Qualcomm. It's transitioning to ending its relationship with Qualcomm over these next 2 to 3 years. And so it's great to hear that Qualcomm has signed a deal with competitors to Apple in China, which is a market that Apple is losing share and the Chinese manufacturers are gaining share. So that's going to help Qualcomm in ease that development away from Apple, which was one of the bigger risks that the company faced in recent years. So Qualcomm saying they expect fiscal year 2025, the QTL segment revenues to be consistent with 2024. In other words, flat, no revenue growth in this segment, with including those longer term agreements. Qualcomm talked about AI approaching an inflection point of scaling at the edge, and their leadership in high performance on device inference solutions positions us to benefit as we lead this transition. That's a lot of jargon there, industry jargon that, unless you're an insider, you probably don't know what these mean. So let me simplify what they mean by this. It is saying that more of the computing for artificial intelligence is going to happen on the device itself. So whether that be a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, the computation is going to happen on that device instead of what's happening primarily right now is these computations are happening on the cloud somewhere in servers that are optimized for artificial intelligence. And so those are the areas where significant investments are taking place to build out those servers. But now there's going to be a transition to on-device computing, which is going to require these devices to be embedded with more technology, with more computation power, so that they can make these computations. And that's going to benefit Qualcomm because Qualcomm is embedded in these devices. And if these devices are going to need to be more powerful, that's going to mean more units of Qualcomm's components inside the devices and more powerful units from Qualcomm inside the devices. So higher quantity of sales for Qualcomm and higher average selling price per unit for Qualcomm because they will be selling the more higher performance parts of their portfolio into these units. So that's great news for Qualcomm. And I will add to this that yesterday I was going through the conference call transcript from Apple, and Apple's management team was talking about the trends that they're seeing in their devices, like the iPhones and iPads. And something interesting the CEO and CFO talked about during their conference call at Apple with Wall Street analysts is they said that they're selling more of their premium devices compared to historical averages. So, in other words, people are going for the higher priced iPhone, the higher priced iPad. They have a range of price points when they're selling these iPads and iPhones, and people are choosing the higher end of these devices more so than they've done in recent history. And I've heard this similar talking point across the several participants in these industries, right? I've heard similar comments made from Micron's management team as well, talking about they're seeing a growing demand because each of these electronic devices now is infused with greater technology so that they can implement the AI capabilities on the device themselves. And so Qualcomm is now the third company, the third large company that I've seen from the earnings call conference call transcripts talking about this trend where consumers are choosing more premium smartphones, more premium tablets, more premium computers to benefit from those rising effectiveness of artificial intelligence, the large language models from ChatGPT and Google and others. People want to use them more, and other AI features that are now embedded in the smartphones. People like these features, they want to use these features, and so they're willing to pay a higher price in order to capitalize on those features. Interestingly, though, the Qualcomm management team said that their overall assumption for the smartphone or the handset market is that it's either flat or grows by low single digits year over year. And if you don't already know, when a management team says low single digits, they mean 1%, 2%, or 3%. Mid single digits is 4, 5, or 6%, and high single digits is 7, 8, or 9%. So, what Qualcomm is saying here is they expect the overall handset or smartphone market to grow or be between 0% and 3% in 2025. But for themselves, they're expecting a double-digit growth in revenue in that category for the entire business. And so that incorporates what I was just talking about earlier, how it's not that people are buying more smartphones or more handsets. It's that people are choosing the higher end smartphones when they are buying them. That's the big trend in that industry that's benefiting the companies like Qualcomm and Apple and Samsung and Micron, because each of these devices are now embedded with more technology, and that means more unit sales for Qualcomm and higher average selling prices for Qualcomm. Hey everyone, I'm excited to announce that my book is finally available for sale. I've been working on it for more than a year now, so I'm really excited to finally share this with you now. It goes through my framework for evaluating stocks. Some of you often ask why I like this stock or why I like the other stock, and this framework provides you the things that I look at when I'm evaluating stocks. I've added the link in the description below.